meeting will come to order. Welcome everybody. It's May 8th. Hard to believe, but it's 2 weeks before graduation at this point and only 3.5 weeks before the end of the school year. And time sure flies because it certainly doesn't feel like it's 3.5 weeks to summer. But I'm sure any students that are in the room or standing in the hallways are going, sure it does. May I have a roll call, please?
Ader? Here. Anarino?
Here.
Hunt? Here. Ton?
Here.
Smoka?
Here.
Shupai?
Here.
Wong?
Here.
All right. The mission of School District 15 is to produce world-class learners by building a connected learning community. Dr. Thompson?
This evening, we're going to be led in the pledge by a couple students from Hunting Ridge School, and I'm going to ask the principal, Mrs. Christine Ortland, to come up and introduce those students, please.
Okay, good evening, Dr. Thompson, President Shupai, members of the Board of Education, and of our community. My name is Christine Ortland, and I'm the principal of Hunting Ridge School, and I am so proud to be here tonight to talk to you about a very special group of kids who are a part of a team that represented Hunting Ridge School at a Math Counts competition this winter. So these are kiddos in 6th grade that spent 1 day a week at lunchtime for several months practicing math problems in order to participate in this competition. And our team of kids placed 8th against students from 20 other junior highs and middle schools. So we are very happy to recognize them, and I'd like to introduce you to Jason, Dylan, and Vedant. So these gentlemen are going to help us lead the pledge for tonight, so please join us.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey guys, the Board of Education has this pen, this light-up pen for you, and I have a feeling this is the first one you're going to, the last one you're going to get tonight. So congratulations, thank you for coming. Thanks for leading us to the All right, we've got some great recognitions tonight. The first is by our PTA president, Stephanie Boucher, and she's going to introduce some students that went downstate in the PTA Reflections competition. Stephanie, come on.
Hi, Dr. Thompson, President Shupai, and the Board of Education. My name is Stephanie Boucher, and I am the Northwest Suburban Council President and the District 37 Reflections Chair. Reflections is a fine arts program that is participated in across the country by all schools that have a PTA. All District 15 schools participate. We had over 200 projects this year at a District 15 level. Reflections is judged at the schools, then at the District 15 level, and then at the District 37 level, which is made up of District 15, Arlington Heights School District, and Schaumburg School District. Those winners from the district level go down to state. This year from District 15, we had 26 artists who made it down to state. Some of those students are here today, so when I say your name, if you could please step forward. Finley from Paddock. Aaron from Hunting Ridge. Van Beer from Winston Campus Elementary. Shivani from Willow Bend. Daida from Central Road. Lini from Hunting Ridge. Jonathan from Hunting Ridge. And Dee Dee from Pleasant Hill. And Rhea, where are you? Oh, where are you? Okay, and from Hunting Ridge? Okay, you're good. And this is Rhea. We're missing her off my list somehow. And Rhea is also a state qualifier. Oh, there we go. From Mary and Jordan. Sorry, guys. So,
Stephanie, one more.
and one more. And Reese from Virginia Lake. So just wanted to congratulate all of them on all of their hard work, and we look forward to what they submit next year. Thank you, guys.
Stephanie, thank you for all your leadership, the Northwest Group Council PTA, and the chair of this position. And you got a new job. You're juggling a lot of things. Thank you.
You're welcome. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So great to have so much to celebrate. Good evening, Dr. Thompson, President Shupai, and members of the Board of Education. I am proud to recognize a lot of students in the areas of science and math tonight. First is going to be our junior high science fair participants. The mission of the Illinois Junior Academy of Science is to present science as a rational observation and systematic investigation of natural phenomena, to stress the importance of critical thinking and logical reasoning, and to encourage students to view science as an interdisciplinary study applicable to society and its interactions with the environment. The students that I'm going to present to you tonight worked with their science teachers and their sponsors to create projects that were presented at their home school science fair. The students we are recognizing tonight moved on to the regional level and/or state competitions. We are proud of all of their hard work and congratulate them for their accomplishments. Thank you to their teachers and their sponsors as well for coordinating and judging the events. And now the sponsors and their students are going to come and introduce themselves and let you know which awards they were given.
Hello, I'm Chris Lucht. I'm the science fair sponsor for Sunling Junior High, and here are some of the students that we had go to regional competition and state competition.
My name is Puneet. I got silver. I'm from Sudling.
My name is Nimai. I got bronze. I'm from Sunling.
My name is Akarsh. I go to Sunling and I got silver.
My name is Shri and I go to Sunling and I got silver.
My name is Kelsey and I go to Sunling and I got gold.
My name is Lily.
My name is Nora
We go to Sunling.
and we got a gold.
My name is Nivi. I go to Sunling and I got a gold.
My name is Sahana. I go to Sunling and I got a gold.
And now I'm going to introduce Amanda Kameth, and this is the Plum Grove kids that went to regional and state.
Could I interrupt just 1 second? Mr. Luck, I don't think we're going to have enough room for everyone, so maybe we could let you leave, and I can give you your pens. And it gives me a chance to say thank you for your years of service to the district and wish you all the best. Thank you.
My name's Pranav. I go to Plum Grove and I got bronze.
My name is Arvind. I go to Plum Grove and I got gold.
My name is Levin and this is my partner Christian, and we got gold and the Naval Science Award.
And best in category.
My name's Ishan and I won gold. Plum Grove Junior High.
My name is Yuvan. I go to Plum Grove Junior High School and I got gold. My name is Twitch. I go to Plum Grove and I got gold. I also got the Alva Edison Persistence Award.
My name is Jack. I go to Plum Grove and I got gold.
My name is Anch and I go to Plum Grove and I got gold.
My name is Avi. I go to Plum Grove and I got a silver in state.
My name's Nishant. I go to Plum Grove and I got a gold.
My name is Veda. I go to Plum Grove and I got a gold.
My name is Diana. I go to Plum Grove and I got a gold.
My name is Kirtana. I go to Plum Grove and I got a gold too.
My name is Devduta. I go to Plum Grove and I got a gold and a best in category.
My name is Ritika. I go to Plum Grove Junior High and I got a silver.
My name is Samira. I go to Plum Grove and I got gold.
This is awesome. Yeah, it's awesome.
Good job. How are you?
All right, we're going to move on to the recognitions for the the Illinois Math League contest. So the participants can come through. Over 1 million students in the United States and Canada participate in the Math League contests every year. Every contest has a question from different areas of mathematics, and the goal is to encourage student interest and confidence in mathematics through solving worthwhile problems. Many students develop a natural interest in mathematics through problem-solving activities in these contests. Schools compete in statewide or multi-state competitions. The students are going to introduce themselves, and they're going to let you know what place they took and what school they are from.
My name is Jason Lee. I'm from Hunting Ridge Elementary School and I got second place.
I am Dylan Bago. I go to Hunting Ridge Elementary and I got 8th place.
This is the Illinois Math League. So we're going to do math counts in just a minute. Oh, you don't need to come first. Stay right here. Okay, another round of applause for these Are they out in the hall? Okay, well, you go get your pens and we'll go get them. Okay? Oh, there's two. There's quite a few more. This is great. Okay, so you get to go first because you've been waiting.
Yeah.
So you're here for math counts, not math league. Okay, so math league, come over here. You're going to tell us your name, your school, and what place you got in the Illinois math contest. Okay?
My name is Ronick. I go to Frank C. Whiteley School and I came 26th in the Math League.
My name is Rishi Kanchi. I am in Whiteley School and I got 20th in the Illinois Math League. My name is Allison. I go to Frank C. Whiteley School and I got 26th in the Illinois Math League.
My name is Ashwin Mahidra. I go to Hunting Ridge Elementary School and I got 20th in the Illinois Math League.
My name is Ryan Kim and I go to Hunting Ridge Elementary School. I got 26th place.
My name is Ethan Liu. I go to Pleasant Hill Elementary School and I got 20th in the Math League.
So, Illinois Math League students, another round of applause for these great math students. You guys are going to take your time, so we're just going to give you a gift from the Board of Education, okay? Because you're right over there.
They're up there for something else, I think.
Oh, these kids? Oh, you're all math counts, math league. Sorry. A lot of kids. Okay, so you guys go over there by your times and get your copy. Okay. So, is there anybody else out there who's for math counts? Let's double check. Let's double check. We got math counts and you be the chemist and then we're all set. Okay. Math counts, guys. You are very patient. We're going to have you come up and tell us your name and your school and what place you took. Okay, you want to go first?
I am Vedant Srihari, and I got 28th place in math counts.
You guys already introduced yourselves, or are you going to? You already went? You're going to go again? Okay.
I'm Jason Lee. I'm from Hunting Ridge Elementary School, and I got 8th place in the math counts.
I'm Dylan Bago from Hunting Ridge, and I got 30th place for math counts.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, and the last recognition tonight is for a competition called You Be the Chemist. And we have a student who not only did You Be the Chemist and won an award, but he also won an award for the science fair. So Puneet, we want to come out here? So we would like to congratulate all of our students who excelled in the You Be the Chemist Challenge. The challenge provides opportunities for schools, educators, and grades 5 through 8 students to receive scholarships, national recognition, and prizes. There is no cost for a school to participate in this challenge, and student participation in the challenge begins with schools where students take the challenge qualifier to identify who will move on to the next competition. The challenge includes science concepts that are covered in many state assessments, such as the scientific method, properties of matter, chemical formulas and equations, chemistry in the human body, and many more. Congratulations to Puneet V, who's here with us tonight. Thank you, Puneet. Jens L, and Ali A, who also won second in the state competition but wasn't able to join us this evening. So join me in congratulating them.
While we're getting ready for the school improvement presentations, parents of students who won, you feel free to leave, go home, and take care of activities. Teachers and sponsors, thank you for coming tonight to support your students.
Sometimes give me a sec.
Oh, is it?
For some reason, when it went to sleep, and now it's
Not connecting?
it doesn't want to go to percent.
It's not yet. It's okay. That's okay. You have a whole cheering section, how about you? No.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, now let's try. Okay, now let's check out back and forth. It's going to take a minute to come
Okay, just go.
whenever you're ready.
Okay. Good evening, Dr. Thompson, President Shupai, and all the Board of Education members. It is great to be here tonight to talk to all of you about the hard work that we've been doing at Hunting Ridge. I'm Christine Ortland, and I am one of the members of our school improvement team, which is also our instructional team. So our instructional team is made up of teachers across a variety of grade levels and specialty areas to make sure that we have a wide representation of teachers in their skill areas and teachers that can give feedback from all of our staff. This year, we continued our work with the data-wise arrow. And our district worked hard to re-envision what those 8 steps of the data-wise arrow looked like to simplify it and make it easier for schools and classroom teachers to use and make a part of their practice. So the first 3 steps are all about organization and collaboration. Steps 4 through 7 are targeting instruction in the classroom. And step 8 is all about fidelity and the way that we are evaluating the overall system. Our work at Hunting Ridge this year focused on steps 5 through 7. When we took a look at our data, we recognized that students needed more practice working at the higher levels of thinking. And we looked at our MAP data, our PARC data at the time, and our Fontes and Pinnell classroom data to really identify the skill area of inferring as a need area for our students, and one that also encompassed a variety of other skills in order to achieve that. Our team got together and recognized that in our classrooms, we had some inconsistencies in the different materials, resources, and approaches that we were using. And we worked together to identify one common strategy that could be used across grade levels and also include our special area teachers. The strategy that we selected is called It Says, I Say So. And we have a simple example for you at the bottom. But basically, the first step is students are looking to find information from the text or picture that's provided to them. And they're going to connect that with information that they already know and combine that in order to draw a conclusion, to answer the question, and create new learning. If an observer were to come into the classroom, they might see a variety of texts that kids are reading. They might see video clips, wordless picture books. They might hear teachers and students asking and answering questions about what they're reading. And they might see a variety of different charts that teachers are using or stems that students are using to guide students in their thinking. Our team next recognized as a part of step 7 that we needed a common assessment to monitor the growth that we were hoping to make. So we went to our Fontes and Pinnell kits and decided to use a similar familiar scoring key. And we used that scoring key to generate rubrics that were going to evaluate students around their work with 3 common texts across grade levels. And each student was answering 2 different questions to target our skill inferring. One question was about the central message or theme of what they were reading, and the second question was a character-based question. In order to build the system for this, we identified a consistent timeline that we were going to use to collect that data and then to review it. We also wanted to utilize the walkthrough system to provide teachers with feedback about their instruction and about what was happening during literacy that they were looking for more information to have. And we created a similar timeline for that data collection. And the 2 timelines were staggered so that teachers it could be more manageable for them in their planning. So here's an example of what some of our teacher look-fors and student look-fors are. These look-fors were flexible and were adjusted after each of our data reviews based on what the teachers were asking for feedback about. Our next step, given that this is the month of May, is to pull together our spring walkthrough and benchmark data, take a look at that data compared to our spring map data, and use that to determine how well we did this year toward our goal, and make adjustments to the plan that we are going to put in place for next year. Okay, thank you.
Any questions for Christine? Okay, thanks. Christine, could you just, for the the new board members maybe. How many students are in your building?
Approximately 720.
720? And you have K through 6, you have new transitional kindergarten still?
Correct. We have the transitional kindergarten program for the district, and we also house one of the district's academically talented and gifted programs.
Thank you.
Good evening, President Shupai, members of the Board of Education, Dr. Thompson, community members, and wonderful staff at Winston Campus who showed up to support me when they found out earlier this week that I was a little nervous about coming in front of you guys today. So my name is Martin DaCosta. I'm the incoming principal at Winston Campus Junior High. Winston Campus Junior High is a school of 775 students serving 7th and 8th grade. And as of next year, we will have the biggest incoming class of 7th graders projected. So who is our school improvement team? Who is in our school improvement team? So our school improvement team consists of 15 teachers, 5 students, 4 parents, and 3 administrators. And so we work together in order to make Winston a better place for students. So this past June, is the school wrapped up, members of our school improvement team, students, parents, staff members came together to identify what the biggest lever is in order to make our school a better place. And so as we struggled to try to figure out where would our biggest rocks be, we collectively decided that in order for our school to move forward, the first and foremost thing that we needed to do was work on the climate and culture. And so Marzano's framework around high reliability school talks about the foundation of any school that is high functioning is a safe, supportive, and collaborative culture. And so using the district framework around school improvement, Harvard's data-wise, we decided that our biggest areas of need were simple. First of all, we needed to structure and organize collaborative teams that can move the school forward. Second, we knew that we needed to provide learning opportunities for all of us staff members and students in order to continue to move the school forward. And lastly, and personally most importantly, looking at data on a day-to-day basis to make sure that our progress is being met and that we adjust accordingly when it's not. So, safe, supportive, and collaborative culture, what have we done? The number one thing that we've done has been empowered our teachers as the leaders of change. Research across content shows that the best way to move schools forward is through teacher advocacy. And it is only through teacher advocacy that schools move forward. And we have a great staff. We knew that we needed to empower them. So that was our number one priority. The district, and with the support of the board, also allowed us to do culturally and linguistic responsive professional development that we were one of the pilot schools to implement. And that's been a success. Another thing is we reestablished our professional learning communities. At a point last school year, we had staff member teams of only a handful of people that were showing up on a consistent basis. So we completely, with the support of the Department of Instruction, completely re-looked at the way that our school improvement team was made up and our PBIS teams, and highlighting our green team that is now composed of 20 staff members and 15 students, and now a freshly minted parent. Additionally, we had a lot of intentionality about creating collaborative spaces, allowing our teachers time to work together and to really combine all the knowledge that they brought to the table. And lastly, being responsive to data. So progress made. from the beginning of school last year through this school year, I'm happy to report that our number of ODRs, our office discipline referrals by month, has seen huge reduction. And so it's been amazing to see the culture that we've been able to create at our school. Every single day, I can look at every single parent and say that not only is your kid going to be learning here, but they're also going to be in an environment where people are going to care about them on an individual level. And so this is kind of the rock of our work. And so if you look at 2017, 2018, and to the progress that has been this year, we wouldn't have been able to do that without the support that I know you guys have given us, the support that district office has given us, and the work that our teachers have been putting in on a day-to-day basis. So what are some of the results look like? The structure of our common spaces, our hallways and cafeterias have been completely revamped. We had problems with kids being in hallways after bells. All of that has been diminished. All of our staff are in hallways every given passing period in a very positive, proactive way, addressing any issues that may happen. And so having our staff actively supervise the hallways, positively interacting with our students has been a game changer. Our behavior management has become more proactive. Our teachers on a day-to-day basis come to the administration team to proactively work with students that may have any behavior issues to address them before they become anything bigger. The positive culture. We've really invested a lot in making sure that our staff feels as though they are making a difference, which they are, and that's taken a lot. It has pushed a lot of our school forward. And lastly, celebrations and acknowledgement to the students that are doing the right thing. We know that, when students see things in their community that may not necessarily be what we aspire them to do, sometimes it can become easy to follow those footsteps. And so our job at school is to make sure that we are guiding them in the right way. The same way that we're teaching them curriculum, we need to be teaching them how to behave. And they've really gotten on board with what we've been trying to do. So where does that take us from here? So first of all, once again, with the support of district office and the Department of Instruction, we have a great number of our teaching staff that will be attending high-level professional development this summer, completely voluntary, and with support from CTC and our staff members. We have 22 teaching staff that will be attending professional development in Minnesota and Milwaukee around culturally responsive teaching. Additionally, we are looking to re-engage in the similar process that we've taken with our PBIS teams to more positively affect academic achievement. We know that now that we've been able to stabilize culture and really address that, while we know that there's still work to be done there, we are going to be using those same systems, those same processes to move academic achievement forward. And we're going to do that with very precise ways of bringing common instructional practices to our school. As our school continues to grow and our staff continues to grow and the number of students that we're serving continues to grow, it is very important to create common instructional practices so that students in Class A experience the same level of rigor and the same level of expectations as students in Class B. So before I end my presentation to you guys, I want to share some final thoughts that I've shared with our staff and our parent community. And so that is that our vision for 2025 is that Winston Campus Junior High will be a leading junior high school, not only in District 15, but also in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. And in order to do that, we need to redefine what student success looks like through teacher leadership. Thank you for your time.
class in for
For
next year?
7th grade, yes. Right now, we're projected at 407 students.
And 407 from this year, which is?
So 407 students, incoming 7th graders, and right now we're at 391.
Okay.
Well, Martine, you didn't need to bring your support group, but I'm glad they came, and you did a fine job, and thank you to all the teachers who came to support and all the hard work you're doing at Winston. So thanks to both of you.
Thank you.
All you gotta do is ask the right way and you could get a pen.
I'm going to sit down here to make the presentation so I can see the screen.
Sorry.
So at the last meeting, I had mentioned to the board that we would like to continue to move forward with the Park Place potential of a school. And the board gave me the go-ahead to go ahead and write up a real estate contract and keep the process going. But I promised I would come back and talk about some financial aspects of the project tonight. And Micah Damchek and I kind of worked on this to get things set up for you, to kind of give you some information, and I hope it presents you with the foundation to decide whether you want to continue to have the process move forward or halt it. So just a reminder, the concept is that it's going to be a K-6 school for Northeast Palatine, where approximately 22% of our students reside, but there is no school. The school would house about 750 to 800 students. There'd be 30 to 32 classrooms when it's finally completed. I think you're familiar with the community school concept, that the community school that's currently in existence at Winston Junior High. It's where we bring in outside resources, we bring in outside opportunities for both kids and parents, and it really makes a huge impact. At our community school down in Rolling Meadows, we've had a nurse from Northwest Community Hospital come to provide health care. We've had a mobile dental service come. We provide ESL services for parents learning English from Harper College. That's just some of the services we provide at our community school in both Rolling Meadows and at Winston Junior High. Most of the people that participate at Winston Campus Junior High live in Northeast Palatine, and it does make it challenging for them to get there. And we would find that this school would be much closer and provide greater opportunities to touch many of those people. And it's right across the parking lot from our partner POC, which provides a lot of resources for us as well. There's also the potential of this school to have a shared library. Palatine Public Library is interested in having a facility up there. The one they have right now is tiny and is only open for a few hours of the day. They would like to have opportunities for people to come later in the evening, on weekends, and there's a possibility we could have a shared library there where Palatine Public Library could house it, run it, and it could be open in the evening then for other people besides our students. So I think it could be a great community asset up there. And it also has a 2-acre play field that wasn't in the original concept that we had presented to you. So that's what we're talking about tonight. And here's the one of the schematics that the owner and their architects have drawn up. You can see here that what happens is the building to the south of the old Whole Foods here, which housed what was it, the Home Goods and TJ Maxx and some other things, gets razed. It gets torn down, and this is a 2-acre playground that is available for the school to use. Now, the village wasn't that excited about the original concept, and that was just to turn the old Home Goods into a school because they thought they were going to lose a lot of retail and they were going to lose some sales tax. So the owner came back with this new concept, same price, but gave us a field here. Oops. I pressed the wrong button, obviously. Julie, is this the presentation? There.
Right there.
Okay. The owner came back to the village and proposed something different. He said, what if I create, remember the laser beam, the problem we had? Okay, I can't use the laser beam, I'm sorry. That triggers the screen, and the screen then shuts the thing down. So I'll have to get up and point if I need to. So the owner said, well, what if I created some outlots that had some retail space that was more viable, closer to Rand Road, that I could get tenants in there and create some real estate tax and some sales tax for you? Could you then consider the old Whole Foods and that other area to the north of Whole Foods becoming in school? And the village said, I think we can get on board with that, because that would generate some funds for them. It wouldn't completely eliminate the retail space that they currently were hoping to have people in. And so, you know, Frank and Lisa came with me to a couple of these visits. We tried to get a little bit larger field, but I think this is going to be sufficient. This is about as large as it can get based upon what the village needs and what the owner needs to do to create the retail space. But you know, there's going to be a division, kind of a green space that's created by islands that have trees and bushes in them. It's going to be separated a little bit. It's going to be a nice space. We're going to have a fence around the ball field, and there's a great pattern for dropping kids off. There's a semicircular drive there that allows for a safe drop-off of kids with buses, and we're working on the traffic pattern for parents. So here's a quick explanation generally of what the cost would be. The purchase price is $4.1 million. It's for 80,000 square feet plus that extra 2-acre ball field. We get the whole shebang. Our construction manager has suggested that the cost to make it into a school is going to be about $13.8 million. This may change a little bit based upon certain things. There's one of the things that we're going to talk about tonight in the policy, that any new school today has to be built with different regulations than old schools in the past. And one of the things that's required now is that there has to be a storm shelter in every school for the number of kids that are in the school. So we're going to have to build some kind of storm shelter because of the new regulation, and that may increase the price a little bit. He anticipates about 13.8, and that gets us to 17.8 million. That's the cost to get the school built, up and running, ready to go. Then there's the real estate tax that we have to pay because we'll be leasing this property from the construction company that's going to buy the property, convert it into a school. We'll lease it to them for a period of time, and we'd have to pay real estate tax while we're leasing it. When we eventually own it, then it'll be tax exempt. To get the instructional supplies for the schools, about $1.1 million that the Department of Instruction has estimated. To put a playground in is about $125,000. And the furniture and other equipment within the school to make it functional is about another $1 million. So that's another $2.5 million, really. That's a first-year outlay to have the school up and running. So the total costs for the first year to have it open, and we're anticipating that everything goes as smoothly as we can, and you approve this, that the school would open in the fall of 2021. So the total cost would be at $2.346 million. So then I was going to talk to you about some possible revenue streams to offset that $2.346 million. First of all, every 10 years we have to do a life safety study, and the life safety study is submitted to the state, and there's work that needs to be created to keep our buildings safe. And one of the projects that we completed over the last 2 or 3 summers was the new curtain wall at Whiteley School. The architects and engineers determined that the wall was failing, and we needed to create a new one, and that fell into the life safety projects, and the board is able to issue bonds to cover the cost of that without having to ask the voters for approval. And we didn't do that. We just took it out of our reserve funds. But we could recoup that $4.1 million. Maybe, Mike, did you come up with a different figure yet?
Yeah, we talked to our underwriter. We can also recoup the construction manager fees and the AE fees, which total about another $1 million. So totally, we can recoup about 5.1.
So we could get this up to 5.1 if the board chose to do that, to recover those costs that we incurred for the Whiteley curtain wall. I also estimate that we could sell the Ela Road property, the 40 acres that we've owned for many years that sits pretty idle, for about $4 million. So that gets us to 9.1 million dollars that we could come up with as possible revenue streams. What that leaves is about a little around $12 million that we would have to take out of reserve funds. So I wanted to show you what that would do. Now, Mike's created a 5-year forecast, and he's gotten us to 22, 23. And the top row here shows what he anticipated our fund balances to be in 2021 and 22 school year, and the 22-23 school year. He's about 59.7 million, and then we increased to 63 million in 2022. If we took out the $12 million that I'm suggesting would be the other source of getting the school up and running, that would bring us down to 46.4 million. So instead of having 36.3% of our annual budget and reserves, we would have 28.2. This board has typically shot for about 30% in reserves. The state recommends 25%. So we're at 28% the first year we would open, down to 46 million, which still is a pretty healthy amount. Not quite as much as we'd like, but pretty close. The next year, we go to 49.7 million, and that's about 30%, back to the 30% target that we needed to have as a fund balance based upon our annual budget. So you can see that all things being equal today and then, that we could still be a pretty healthy position if we bought this school, paid for everything to get it up and running, and it got up and running in 2021. So there's also the projected cost of new personnel. So there'd be another principal, assistant principal, a nurse, custodians, food service workers. Many of the teachers would move from another district, from another building in the district, but there are many new costs in personnel that would be associated with opening up a building, and we projected that to be about 1.1 million. There would be utilities on the building annually, about 99,000 is what we projected, and there would be supplies to run the building, cleaning supplies, toiletry supplies, all that kind of thing, another $32,000. So a total of about 1.3 million annual costs to run the building. 1.3. So that would be money we'd be spending in addition to our current budgetary expenses right now. Also, the reason why we proposed this building in the first place is that it would provide us enough classroom space to have full-day kindergarten. And I think that's a goal that the community would like, the board wants to investigate. And so if that were the case, we would probably have to then increase the number of staff for full-day kindergarten by another 1.3 million, so that the annual cost of full-day kindergarten and running this building is going to be an additional 2.6 million every year. And it's going to increase based upon, raises that people get and the cost of living. So remember that 2.6 when we get there. Here's some other possible revenue streams, though. In the year, in the budget year 21-22, we will receive. We've estimated $1,052,000 more in real estate taxes than we would have the year before. That's additional, over and above what we would have gotten. That we would have gotten without the TIF expiring. So the TIF expires the year before. The next year we get this increase. So we automatically get a bump of $1,052,000 the first year the building opens. The next year another TIF rolls off and we get $106,000, and then 3 years later we get $2,080,000 more. And then in 2027, that's 7 years later, we get an extra 1.1 million from the fourth TIF that expires. Totally, we're going to increase in the first 7 years this building was open, $4.238 million every year, more than we would have otherwise. So what I wanted to show you was the cost versus revenues. So what I've got here is the 2021 year, the first year it opens. Remember I said $2.6 million for full-day kindergarten and for the operation of the Park Place School. We get an extra $1,052,000 for levy, through the levy, additional money. That's a deficit of 1.5 million. The next year, I increased the cost by 2.1%. That's a guess at what our inflationary cost would be, 2.1%. Mike said we could use 1.5. That's what he uses for his 5-year forecast, but we use 2.1 just to be on the safe side. So the next year, it's $2,658,677. We get that extra $106,000 in TIF money. That makes it 1.158. The deficit is 1.5. And if you add the first year's deficit to the second year's deficit, you get the next one, which is $3,052,670. So we're in the hole $3,052,000 after 2 years. The next year it goes up by 2.1%, and the total deficit then gets to 4.6 million. But in the fourth year, you can see that we end up with having more levy funds than we have expenditures. And we have excess funds of $466,000. So the deficit then is 4.142. The next year is 3.7. The next year is 3.4. In 2027, the deficit is 2 million. And then by 2029, we've actually got more money over the course of those 9 years to cover the entire cost of full-day kindergarten and the running of the school and the building and purchase price of the school, and we're starting to get back into black. And I think that this TIF money provides us with an opportunity to really have the revenue to pull this project off. So what I didn't do was I didn't increase the amount of money from the TIFs that we got. But typically, each year the levy can go up by the cost of living, the CPI. And so if Mike said if we increased the TIF revenue, the extra TIF revenue that we get, at the same rate we increase the costs, over there in the bottom corner, after 9 years, we would have a $2.2 million surplus based upon those numbers going up. I did this conservatively because I wanted you to see that we could do this even if things don't go exact. Even if there's a property tax freeze, we could do this. If we continue to have increases in our levy like we've been experiencing in the past, we'll probably have a surplus of $2.2 million by the 9th year. Lot to digest, but any questions that pop up that you can think about?
Is there any chance they'd renew any of the TIFs?
So they can renew the TIFs. They typically can only run 23 years, but there have been some places that have renewed TIFs. Our conversations with these are all Village of Palatine TIFs. Now we have TIFs in other municipalities as well. And those I don't trust as much, but Village of Palatine, they've been very good about communicating with us. And as you are aware, they've actually had a surplus with their TIFs that they've been giving to us every year. And I don't know, over the course of the last 7 or 8 years, we've gotten 3 or 4 million, haven't we, Mike? More than that, maybe?
Yeah, in fact, we're going to receive about $725,000. I think this year alone we'll get about 1.1 million in TIF this year alone.
Yeah, so they've managed these TIFs very well, and they have told us that they're going to expire.
Okay.
So I'm confident, but there is that off chance that new people could get elected and they decide to keep it going, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Reed's not retiring anytime soon.
He hasn't told me he has.
How long's Reed's tenure? He told me the last time I talked to him that he's got a high school student still and somebody just commencing college, so.
He's going to be around for a while. He's younger than me, too. He's got to work a while. And then, Mayor Schwantz is hoping to continue in his role, so he's also part of the equation, as are the village council members. But I think the TIFs are going to expire, and we'll be able to capture that new revenue.
And these numbers are all incremental costs and revenues, like because like the 2 million number is just the annual additional expense from this project, right? The 2.6, or is that? Because I think you mentioned in your presentation that that it also includes the initial purchase price, but isn't that 2.6 just the yearly additional expense?
Let's see, where is it? The 2.6, it should be the annual cost. So each year, the cost of the personnel, utility supplies, and the extra full-day kindergarten teachers, it's 2.6. So we're talking about what would be above and beyond what we have today.
As a recurring annual expense.
Yeah.
But then I think part of Zubair's question is then if you go back a slide to actual cost of the building, the land, the build out of the school.
That's
This is
20.
Yeah, the idea being that the initial expense, we're looking at that through the lens of taking money from the reserves. Whereas the annual, we're just seeing how that can be covered by TIF funds, or the return of TIF funds.
Right, those are ongoing. These are one-time costs that we could take out of reserves. The others are going to be annual costs that we have to cover for, and the increased revenue that we get from TIF expiration would cover that. These are all kind of ballpark figures right now. We know that the construction company that's going to buy the building, they have to pay interest on the loan that they've got. So we're working out the details as far as that's concerned. These numbers could change a little. I don't think they're going to change a great deal. But I just want to give you the caveat that they're pretty close, and we try to be conservative with the revenue. The actual costs, if for some reason a trade war occurred and cost us more for supplies, we don't have any way of knowing that right now.
Is it generally more expensive to construct on a situation like this where there's a kind of existing structure and we're raising an existing structure versus constructing on just land, open land?
So the infrastructure is already there, the utilities, water, electricity, the walls, and the roof. And we're hoping to use the HVAC that's currently there, which would reduce the cost of building the building. The owner of the property is going to assume the cost to raise the old building and create the play field for us. So that's not something we have to assume. But there's a lot of costs associated, and Craig's here, with getting the grade ready, the land ready, pouring the foundation. Concrete's very expensive these days. The walls. I mean, we're saving a lot of money by buying these walls. Parking lot already constructed. I mean, there's many things that are going to save us huge amounts of money versus starting from scratch.
From a square footage standpoint, comparability to our existing buildings, are we in the same ballpark with the proposed schematic that's been presented?
Excellent question. Our largest school is Lincoln Elementary, and it's about 79,000 square feet. This is 80,000 square feet, so it's almost identical.
And then kind of a non-financial question, but with working with the library district, we're in preliminary talks with them, is there plans to not be open to the public during school hours, and then after school hours we would open it to the public as opposed to it being people coming in and out?
Right, that would be the plan.
Scott, that same goes for the community school aspect of it. Any extra services that are offered at the facility are all
Will not be during the school day.
School hours.
Okay.
Yeah, unless it was like the mobile dentist, they've got a mobile facility, they'd still be there, they could provide service when kids are there and things, but by and large, yeah, the safety and security of school would be sound.
Are there any other projects that we would have to give up? Any other facilities of renovations of our other schools that we wouldn't be able to afford if we were to pursue this option?
Well, and that's another excellent question. We still have to take care of our 23 buildings that we currently have, and there are going to be ongoing costs associated with that. And in Mike's budget, Mike's designated a certain amount of money for capital improvements, but we've been exceeding that in the past, and so there's that concern that we do need to make sure that we've still got enough fund balances and revenue coming in to take care of our current facilities as well. I would say this is a little stretch, and sometimes we do that in our personal lives. This gets us full-day kindergarten, which I think has a high value, and it provides us a school close to where most of our kids live that we can provide more services to them. And so I think it brings with it a lot of reward and opportunity associated as well with some of the risk. It's an excellent question.
Scott, do you have feel for, I know it's completely a guess, but if we were to launch a full-day kindergarten program, how many total kindergarten students would you anticipate ballparking we would then be housing across the district?
So we kind of base that upon the number of first graders we get each year, and we've been kind of tracking the first grade cohort. How many first graders do we have district-wide? And it's typically, Matt, is 150 kids less in kindergarten than is in first grade, something like 150 to 200 kids. So probably each grade cohort, they kind of rise and fall, depends on how many kids are born that year and things. But typically it's about 1,100, 1,200 kids in each grade level. So that's how many full-day kindergarten kids we probably would anticipate. Right now we have 1,050, 1,060 if my memory serves me right.
Somewhere around 1,000.
Yeah.
Scott, we talked a little bit about location, and if you could just address for the board, what other options there are for a different location other than this one?
Yeah, we've been looking for some time. Bob Rorman has the Lexus dealership just across 53. We tried to get that space. We tried to get him to donate that space. He wasn't interested. There are some other office buildings that we've looked at that aren't really as well suited for schools. They're, office buildings are designed for offices and multi-floors and atriums and elevators that take up a lot of space and not as many bathrooms as we'd need. So we looked at a office building right on the corner of Dundee and 53. It's northwest corner. There, the old ITT building, which is in Arlington Heights, just north of the Rorman Lexus dealership. We looked at that. That was going to be challenging, more expensive, harder to get to. We looked at a school that was previously in District 21, which is right across from Buffalo Grove High School, basically, just across the street and down the road. But that was not well suited for our purposes. We looked at that. It was going to be much more expensive and not have nearly as much space as we needed for the kids. We tried to get Osage Park from the Park District, but they were not willing to let us have it. They wanted to swap with us, and you remember the swap wasn't very well accepted by the community. So we've looked at some other spaces. One of the things that we've heard from the community when the task force did their survey was, we want kids to go to schools as close as possible to where they live. And we hear that from people in Northeast Palatine too. They don't really want their kids on buses longer than necessary, and the convenience of having a school here, I think, would be really beneficial for them. We have to look at all aspects, and we have talked about this before, that that I did do some analysis, and it looks like based upon the kids that live closest to this potential school, that the minority population would increase. I shared with you this weekend some of the percentages of kids in schools, and we've got I think at least 3 schools well in the 60s that have Hispanic kids, and 60% that qualify for free and reduced lunch. This school would be an increase over some of those by a few percentage points, maybe as many as 9. Could get to 74% Hispanic, and in the 70s probably for low income. But we also know from research that there are schools that have 90% minority, 90% free and reduced lunch, that have 90% of the kids that are meeting standards and achieving at a high level. We know that there's schools that exist like that, and we know that if we put the right amount of resources, we could have one of those schools as well. So while it is a concern that we have a high concentration of kids that may have more needs, I think we can provide more resources for them and provide more services, and we can be successful.
Is there anything you can do about that minority concentration? If you understand that that's going to be a problem, then is there anything else we could do?
Well, I didn't say it was a problem. I think that it could actually be exciting for that community. to really embrace their culture and have a very viable school where their kids are excelling, I think my hope would be that it could enhance the entire community. But, we're trying to do a lot of things, and you can't find the perfect situation or perfect solution. And so we're trying to keep kids as close as they live to their schools. We're trying to keep them off of buses, keep busing costs down, and so there are a number of factors that that we have to consider, and not all of them can we have them perfect. I mean, I would like for our schools to be equally diverse all across the district, but I think that's really something that's pie in the sky. So it was kind of a long, evasive answer, but I don't know that there's something we could do without busing kids in from another area, and I just don't know that that's a good solution.
And the Park Place proposal is dovetailing with the boundary committee too. They're looking at proposals that go both ways, how we dovetail it with, if we go forward with this plan and if we don't go forward with this plan, correct?
So yeah, so the boundary task force is continuing to work, and they're going to be bringing proposals. I think the board could be presented with a proposal that says, this is our initial step to buy this and to provide full-day kindergarten district-wide, and we wouldn't have to do nearly as much as the boundary task force would like. But later on, if we found we had some more money, we could then make step 2, which would mean that all of our junior highs were aligned with all of our elementary schools, with all of our high schools, where that alignment piece was really important. Step 2 would cost more money and be down the road, but this could be a standalone project that could provide full-day kindergarten district-wide and not have the huge ramifications of a full-scale boundary change. So as you know, we're seeing an increase in population in our Plum Grove area, with Hunting Ridge, Pleasant Hill, Willow Bend, and Plum Grove all growing and being a bit of a concern as far as the number of kids in the schools. We're building 2 new classrooms at Pleasant Hill this year, so we can kind of make do with what we've got. The Learning Center is going to be reduced, but it's still a very large learning center, but we're going to create a classroom there. But so there's some growth down there, and what we may need to do to do full-day kindergarten is talk about moving all of the gifted classes to a central location. And one of the things that I've seen is that by creating this Park Place school, we free up a lot of space at Paddock School, and Paddock School might be the place where all gifted kids from the Fremd area go together, and that would free up some space then that's needed at those 3 elementary schools.
And by freeing up that space, then ideally we don't have capacity constraints, but we also are able to house full-day kindergarten in a local school, which gets back to the community concept of being able to send our kindergarten students to the school they can either walk to or short bus ride to.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
How do the annual costs compare for this school versus other elementaries in the district?
Yeah, so Mike created a spreadsheet that he uses in his 5-year forecast, basically to analyze costs everywhere, right?
Yeah, so what we did is we costed out all the staff. I will say, like, we costed out the teacher salary, CTC, at the beginning teacher salaries. Mm-hmm. However, so that would be the additional cost, right? Because if we had to hire 33 teachers, we would hire them at the beginning rate. Now, they may come from other buildings within the district, and you may have higher priced teachers, going to that building, and lower first year salary teachers going to existing buildings. But when you look at the additional cost, right, it would be the additional cost of a teacher that would be tier 2 BA0. And we looked at, comparable salaries for repair custodial staff, principal, assistant principal, square footage costs for utilities, for electricity, natural gas, etc.
So I'd say it's very comparable to other schools.
I think we also haven't talked about, your financials are making the assumption that we fully absorb the cost of full-day kindergarten for every student that's involved. But there are also a lot of different options on that would have to be discussed before we move anything forward. But there's no reason that we can't look into sliding scale cost absorption or a percentage paid for each full day kindergarten student that would have been paying some level of tuition at another full day option. That doesn't stop us from doing that sliding scale based on income or something of the sort, which also could potentially offset that $2.6 million that's a recurring cost.
Yeah, it could, for sure. One of the things that you do need to be aware of, and that is this 4.1 million life safety bonds. There is a time frame, a tight time frame actually, on our availability to recoup those costs, and we really need to do those. We need to start the process in June, because it goes back 3 years. It allows you to go back and absorb costs for 3 years, and we've hit the 3-year mark this summer for the cost at Whiteley.
And that was the one that could go to the 5.1?
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
Correct, yes, that's correct.
I think my battery died here, so
Now you're winging it.
So, I guess what the board needs to kind of discuss a little bit is, do we continue to move forward with this process? Does it seem like it's got enough momentum to keep going? Because there are going to be some costs associated, but hiring an architect to drop some plans, the process to get the village to approve the zoning variance, attorney fees to do the lease agreement and the real estate agreement. So there are going to be some associated costs to continue to move forward. And we really need to know about the $4.1 to $5.1 million bonds, because we have to have somebody getting that ready to make a presentation next meeting, and we'd have to pass a resolution to access those bonds. The bond market right now is really good rates. So it's something I hate to, I've been bringing this up for a while, but it's getting to the point where we really have to make a decision or we lose the opportunity.
Now, did the boundary committee, do they have at least something tentative with this concept worked into the boundary changes? Because obviously the boundaries are going to have to change, because you're going to have to be pulling kids from all the schools, or from a lot of the schools, and shifting kids to fill it.
So right now, the schools that would change would be the ones in the northeast part of our district. The other boundaries wouldn't change based upon going to full-day kindergarten and building the school.
Would they have to change a little bit, though, just to free up space for full-day kindergarten?
Well, for the schools over there, so, I mean...
For the schools that are farther south, even?
No. Those, I think, because if we were moving the gifted programs, we'd have enough space for those kindergarten sections that we need at those schools. So the schools that would, get some boundary changes would be Sanborn wouldn't have schools from Northeast Palatine. Paddock wouldn't have schools from Northeast Palatine. There'd be fewer kids going to Jane Addams, fewer kids going to Lake Louise, and probably Winston too. So those schools would get some relief because of the new school, and the schools in the south part would get the relief by the gifted classes being moved. So that we really wouldn't have to do major boundary changes. But to get back to your point, the boundary task force is moving more slowly because they realize they have to do this right, because they realize that going fast like the referendum went fast did not produce good results. And so they want to go really slowly and make sure they have a really sound plan. So they're continuing to work, and they're hoping that they can come in the fall with something, but they're not ready to present you with a plan yet.
Yeah, I think my only concern is that I think a lot of this hinges on the boundary changes in the proposal. I mean, they kind of go hand in hand, because obviously if you're opening another school, you're pulling kids from somewhere, so the boundaries are changing somewhat. I'm just thinking we need to have that information coupled with this.
Yeah, and I can show you what that would look like
Yeah.
as far as boundaries are concerned at the next meeting, at June's meeting.
That might be important just to see how would it look like. I mean, I know, so it seems like the major changes are students, like you said, from the northeast schools, getting relief from those schools and being at the new school, and then the gifted program all going. What school were we projecting that the gifted program would be centralized?
Yeah, so Paddock School had the greatest relief for this whole, by building this new school, and it freed up a lot of space there. And so Paddock is not that far from Pleasant Hill, from Hunting Ridge, from even Whiteley. You know, I mean, it's a pretty quick drive to get there. And so, and I think there is some benefit that the gifted teachers mentioned this. They would really like all of the gifted classes to be together, because what happens, and Frank, you know this, kids stay together for 4 years basically in a group, and sometimes they don't change, and that's not always good for kids. They need to be exposed to other kids, because you get 3, 4 together, and then if those same kids go to 5, 6 together, the gifted teachers would really like to expand the opportunities for those gifted kids by having them all together. And so a gifted center could really be kind of exciting to them, and I think beneficial to the gifted kids. But that's where it would be a Paddock, I think.
Scott, do you think I mean, I know it would be rushing I'm going to answer my own question. Would it be rushing the boundary committee to ask at least for some soft plan, or, you know, a soft boundary overlay to be presented at the next board meeting? Nothing binding, nothing full, but, and I don't want them committing to anything. I understand the slowdown. I think that's smart. You know, we don't want to do anything without the right kind of feedback and knowing exactly what direction we're going. But at the same time, we have a little bit of a better feel for the what if, or the possibility on a grand scheme if we had Park Place.
I would say that it's probably not likely that they could come and do that. And you know, tomorrow I know I'm going to get lots of emails and phone calls about the things I've said tonight about possible changes. And what they're afraid of is by sharing that with you, that people, you know, don't have all the information, and they haven't completely analyzed the plan. If they present a plan and the community goes off, then there's really not an opportunity to educate them and get them on board so that it can be successful. So they're fearful, I think rightly so, that by sharing something before it's in a really good, complete form, that it could derail the whole process. And they've been working for a long time on this. So.
Yeah, and I agree. And we looking back at the circumstances of the referendum presentations, you know, there were bits and parts of that were really, really good. And then there were the soft parts in between. But
yeah.
If there had been more time for you guys to work on it, maybe there would have been less soft spots.
Yeah, maybe. But I do think that was a lesson learned by them. But I can come to the next meeting and show you what the boundary changes would be if we just did Park Place School and we created full-day kindergarten in the district. I could show you what that would look like. And so that would be the initial step, and then I think the boundary committee could come and say, we want to improve on that, and here's what you could do in the future, and then we could also judge the costs associated with that in the future.
And there's always going to be a first pass.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, this isn't going to come out and everybody's going to be like, oh, this is great, I love the boundary changes. I have a feeling you're going to have a lot of people upset regardless. So, you know, no better time to start than now.
Well, but if they have to backtrack, then that creates problems. Oh, we said this, now we meant this. And
I mean, nothing's going to be perfect. That's why I'm like,
well, they want to
see something and start the conversation so we can start dealing with people's suggestions.
Yeah, well, you know, probably the best thing to do would be to come to the next meeting and try to get some of that information at their boundary task force meeting.
Yeah, I mean, because you know, it's been a while.
Yeah, they've been working hard, but it is a complex problem. Let me tell you, it is a very complex problem.
And I feel like the one meeting that I went to, the further the conversation went, the more issues came up. So it became a lot more complex as you looked into it deeper. So
well, I mean, I also think ultimately, and I think what the boundary task force is doing, it is important. You know, taking a very comprehensive view, using the new technology that we have just to help them, you know, come up with something. But inevitably, I think we all know that if there's any boundary changes, like literally any boundary changes, they will have some complaints that people get used to going to a certain school, and there's no rhyme or reason for someone, because you could have, you know, somebody could be attached to a school just because that's the school they went to. Somebody could be attached to a school because of certain programs there, and now, like for instance, you're talking about the gifted program being shifted to another school. So there will be, I think in the end, it's an exercise in minimizing the level of angst associated with, and also weighing the benefits of full day kindergarten and the school, a school right in the middle of where most of the kids are, weighing those benefits with the necessary angst that's going to be there for at least a group of people, to minimize that and then to balance it. So I think that's how we should be looking at it, in my opinion.
Do we have representation on the Boundaries Task Force of families from the Northeast corner that would likely end up going to the Park Place School?
Yeah, we have some parents that are from up that area.
Okay.
So I think it's a really good, broad representation.
Okay.
So, I'll wait for objections, but if none, we'll keep moving forward with this project. I'll come back next meeting with a proposal for the issuance of the bonds and with the possible boundary changes that could occur just for Park Place.
So one question about the bond, whether or not people go forward, whether we go forward with this plan, wouldn't it be a good idea to get the money from those bonds anyway? I mean,
It's not a bad idea because we have capital projects that we have to do in the future, so I don't think they would be wasted funds.
yeah.
We've just been trying to be really cautious with how we get funds from taxpayers and spending them carefully so that we use them as judiciously as possible. Okay, feel free to email any other questions. There was some slight revisions in the PowerPoint based, that you got versus the one I showed tonight. June will have that available for you. But if you have other questions, things pop up in your mind, please don't hesitate to reach out to me.
All right, thank you. Thanks for the work on it, Mike also. Thank you. Super, cover the time.
You want to go back?
No,
Is there anything else that?
Nothing else in my
Okay.
section.
All right, then we will move to the reading and acceptance of minutes. May I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the following meetings of the Board of Education: the April 10th, 2019 regular Board of Education meeting, the April 24th, 2019 special Board of Education meeting, and the April 24th, 2019 organizational special board meeting as presented.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Ader,
Aye. Yes.
Andrino,
Aye.
Hunt,
Aye.
Hun,
Aye.
Smolka,
Aye.
Shupai,
Aye.
Wong.
Aye.
The minutes stand approved. The next order of business is standing committee reports. We will start with conversation on committee representation. We've got new board members, therefore our committee representatives are going to change up a little bit. Ed Red, council legislation. Frank, willing to continue?
I will continue with that.
Thank you very much. 1-5 Foundation.
Stepping up on that.
Thank you, Mike. Finance Committee. Anthony stays. Wendy join.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Equity Committee. Zubair.
Yes.
Continue. Sam on. Yeah. All right. And Superintendent's Communication Committee will keep as it is, chaired by you. And if anybody wants to show up, we'll just make sure no more than 2 people come.
Okay, great.
All right. Then Frank, it's all you, Ed Red.
Okay, so probably the hottest news would be that the Senate approved the amendment to the Constitution to have a graduated income tax rather than a flat tax. The next step would be for the House of Representatives to vote on it. They too would need to pass it with a 3/5 vote, and then once that happens, it would go on the ballot, and then the voters would have to approve that with a 3/5. I believe it's a 3/5 vote for that too. So that's where that stands. We'll see what happens with that. The Other stuff that came up was, one with regards to pensions. There was a law that was passed that would limit the annual salary increases to 3% for people in their last few years there. It used to be 6%, so they're looking to switch that back. That passed the Senate. And then in the House, there's a student privacy bill that's starting to, that was passed in the House and is going to be moved over to the Senate. That one's a little interesting. It's kind of a little bit of a, what it does is it places a bunch of mandates on the school districts, which the Ed Rate Committee finds to be a bit burdensome and will increase costs. So we're not in favor of that. So we'll see what happens with that. And that's probably the major ones. There's some other ones that don't really apply too much to our district, like teacher salaries and consolidation of school districts. That's something that we don't have any issue with, so we'll just move on. That's it.
Thank you very much. 1-5 Foundation, Mike?
1-5, so my first announcement as 1-5 committee chair is everybody can come out and run for fun. I know people say you run for fun, but this is actually for a good cause too. So there is they call it a micro marathon. It's 2.62 miles and an 8K in Arlington Heights through the neighborhoods there. I ran it last year. I will be running it again this year. We had some good representation from District 15 last year. A portion of your enrollment fee comes back to the district. So not only do you get to run for fun, but a portion of your registration fee comes back to us. So I think we had, every school was represented last year for it. So it'd be nice to see a whole lot of people out there. You guys can come out. My son's going to do it too. So there's a 2.62 and an 8K. You can go to gottorun.org to sign up for it. And hopefully we see some of you guys out there.
Thanks. Finance Committee, Anthony?
Yeah, no updates currently for the Finance Committee, but I know we'll have some projects to discuss and tackle here potentially in the future.
Zubair?
And, no updates at this time. We're reaching out to Dr. Edgar and the team to see how, I think there was trainings, and correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't there trainings at the latest Institute days regarding CLR and other things? I think that would certainly be one of the things that we can talk about at the Equity Committee, see how that is going and other things as well. So I'll reach out to you.
Excellent. Yeah, I didn't go for the whole day. I know that that Lori went on Thursday, but I went at the end on Friday at Winston. And the kind of the excitement and engagement in the room, Winston, even at the end of the day, was absolutely the neatest thing that you've ever seen. They were already into the process some, but it's very fresh still, and people keep picking up skills and using what they're learning, and have gotten such good results that that they're engaged to just keep pushing at it a little harder. So it was a good day. It's good. All right, there were some board policies that were in the packet that everybody's had an opportunity to look at. Would anybody like to discuss any of them? Are there any concerns?
Sure. I had a question with regards to the transportation one, where the addition had to do with transporting kids if they had to, or under a mile and a half, if they had to walk through an area considered a safety hazard that had a course or pattern of criminal activity. And it said that that was defined by some Illinois, what was it? Illinois Terrorism and Gang Crime or something committee. I was wondering, do we have any areas that are designated as such, or?
Not that I'm aware of, but we, no, we don't.
Okay, good.
That is good.
Would that be like the DOT map? Is that the general idea?
No, I think it's where criminal activity shootings occur.
Right. But in the same kind of way, like the DOT map shows certain areas that.
I think the police department would probably tell us.
They'd be the ones that have that?
State
Okay.
police would inform us if that was an area. Good, close to a school.
And then the last one was there's a new one, policy, the instruction remote education program. So what exactly is that? I wasn't quite clear. I read the thing and I'm like, what does this mean? Does this mean like kids that can't make it to school, or kids that are maybe long-term illness, or what would it be used for? 'Cause this is for qualifying students, but it wasn't really clear what that means.
So really, I think this was driven by snow days and cold days, so that you could have a school day counted remotely if kids were at home and given assignments, and the teachers were interacting with them on the computers. We had 3 school districts in the state that participated in a pilot program to have this. Teachers created lesson plans for these kids. They had their devices, and they interacted with them all day long, and that counted as a school day. There are other programs, but they're primarily at the high school level. So they really, they're internships, apprenticeship programs, those kinds of things that can happen remotely that should be counted as a school day, even though they're not in the actual physical building of the school.
Okay.
So this allows for a lot of those kinds of alternative educational settings, but primarily what we would use is if the district and administration chose to set up a snow day as a regular school day in the future.
Okay. So this is something new. This is something new that would need to be developed. Or
Right.
We already have like a blueprint for this, or is this basically become Dr. Heinz's to do?
Definitely.
Right, yeah, it's definitely something to consider in the future. I'm not sure we've actually seen the benefit of it yet, but they may investigate and find that there could be some benefit to kids actually working at home because of our one-to-one initiative and all the devices we have.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
All right, Superintendent's Communication Committee?
We did not meet.
All right, we will now open our meeting for public comment. Please remember that this is not a dialogue between you and the board. If you have a specific issue which requires a response, Superintendent Thompson will get back to you. Please state your name and identify any group that you represent, while limiting your remarks to no more than 5 minutes. If someone previously has articulated something with which you agree, please state that you agree rather than reiterating the entire comment. And finally, please avoid comments that are specific to any person, student, or staff member, respecting that person's right to privacy. This is not the forum to comment on personnel issues. Jonathan Carson. Say close on the last name?
Closer than most people get. I just wanted to thank the board again for seeing me. I know I talked last time. I talked about I'm here from Vosina Digital Communications. Sorry, I talked about the radio bid. I wanted to state that actually last time I was informed shortly after it that there was some information I had was incorrect, to make it very clear. What I had was the radio was the E updated model series, which was being proposed on Motorola. That was had actually been updated to an IP67 rating. I said we were the only ones who did that. That was incorrect. I apologize. And also that the radio was actually made lighter on it here. So our radio is actually heavier by 0.23 of an ounce. So I'm going to have it on there. We were expecting to have some dialogue between the board, as was talked about, with the board about looking at the specifications, as well as getting some radios to test out. I called almost every day after that, and we never had my calls returned, and then was told over a week later that we talked to legal, we don't need to talk to you, we don't need to look at your bid, which is fully, the board has every right to legally make any bid they wanted here. All we want to do is make sure that, they have everything, especially with some information that wasn't correct and some of the reasonings for that. They were told that that they didn't want to spend time on it, but if I did come, it would be raised at the next board meeting. I actually have what I was listed as were the factual inaccuracies that I stated. I have a copy of it here. I will be more happy to turn it in here so we can save everybody's time on it here. Just two things I just want to make a point on is that we never ever challenged legally that you had to listed our bid. All we want to do is have a fair shot, so that's totally fine. You guys, we respect whatever decision you guys want to make. There was also a statement that currently the system that's being proposed the current 100-watt repeater system already has coverage. Actually, one of the documents was posted saying there are dead spots in the school, so that put some confusion up. happy to hand this document off. I also emailed this document to the entire board for them to see as well. Thank you.
Great job.
Chad Stojkovic? What's the real?
Stojkovic.
Man, I'm
You were
really
this close, this close.
And it's a lot more complicated than it's actually.
Yeah, the Jays usually throw it off, so. Hi, I'm Chad Stojkovic. I'm representing Hytera Communications, Hytera America West Communications for a two-way radio manufacturer. And adjacent to Mr. Corson, I'm the regional sales manager for the state of Illinois. So I'm here to represent the company and try to make some response to some of the bid process and also make a statement on behalf of the company just to clear some of the legal matters up on our behalf. Dear CCSD 15 school board members, Hytera appreciates the opportunity to participate in RFP 19-021 to provide its cutting-edge telecommunications technology to Palatine District 15. Hytera will respect the ultimate decision of the board, though is compelled to point out that the record continues to include factual inaccuracies, which may improperly influence the board's decision, including statements made in the May 8th, 2019 letter from the administration to the board attached to the May 8th, 2019 agenda. The following points are relevant for the board's consideration. Hytera has proposed its newest I-Series radios to the district. These radios are a totally new product line that have been reviewed by the U.S. International Trade Commission and are fully available for sale in the United States without restriction, notwithstanding Motorola's failed challenge that the I-Series radios were infringing Motorola's patents. The U.S. federal government has not banned any Hytera radios related to this RFP and have never provided any such guidance to any municipality or public school system. Hytera has a pending lawsuit against Motorola for antitrust, unfair trade practices, and anti-competitive behavior that have resulted in consumers paying higher prices than a competitive market would support. Hytera management remains available to discuss any of these matters with the management overseeing this proposal and the board. In these times of continuing tight school budgets, we thought it is critical that the board receive accurate information to make an informed decision as to whether the circumstances justify paying 30% more than Hytera's bid. Any decision that is not based on the ability of the radio equipment to meet technical specifications of the RFP, but instead relies on the potential outcome of private litigation between competitors is speculative at best and may act as a grave disservice to the district. We're confident that given the opportunity to work with the district, you will see significant material, financial, and technical benefits to working with leading global supplier of trunk digital mobile radios. And I'll be happy to provide the copy of this for public record. Thank you.
Thank you. James Taylor?
You got my name right.
I was thinking exactly that. Like, yes.
That's tough one. So it's not typically my style to read, but since I tend to be long-winded, I thought it best to write it down and just read it to you so I don't go on and on. Good evening, President Shupai, Dr. Thompson, and members of the school board. My name is Jim Taylor, and I am a community member and parent of 3 District 15 students. I do not represent any organization, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this evening. I'd like to take the opportunity to share my concerns regarding the proposal for a new school at Rand Road and Dundee Road, most importantly, the proposed location. First, it's my understanding, as Dr. Thompson said tonight, that one of the reasons for the proposal is the need and desire for community schools. I recently ran for election to this school board with Mr. Kahn and Mrs. Ader and Mrs. Hunt. And while campaigning, the topic of community schools came up quite often. And I said then that I am in support, and I still am in support, of community schools and all the great things that it offers. However, I think that great care should be taken to not place a school in a location that, while creating that community school, we also isolate and unintentionally segregate students and their families. I feel that the proposed location would do exactly that. Although I wasn't able to gather exact numbers and statistics before speaking to you this evening, I do personally live in the community that this school would be built, and I can tell you that a large percentage of the population there are minorities. The community that would go to this school
would be mostly minority students, and that runs the risk of unintentionally segregating them and their families. Not to mention, it is only 3 minutes from Lake Louise, 7 minutes from Jane Addams, and 9 minutes from Paddock. So I'm not truly convinced that this is that much of an improvement for a location of a school. Next, while it is true that a new school would help with overcrowding, we currently have a boundaries committee that is hard at work trying to find a way to improve this problem. I don't think it makes much sense to move forward with a multi-million-dollar proposal before we give the community a chance to do what they've been working so hard to do. I think we should let them do their job, and if we still have major issues once they're done, then we can address them at that time. Another concern is, of course, financial. I won't go into what I said here because actually Dr. Thompson did address all the questions that I had written here in your presentation tonight, so thank you. Lastly, I have great concern regarding the specific location of the proposed school. If I understand the proposal correctly, the proposed location is literally in the parking lot of a Walmart shopping center. While everything about what the school would offer sounds wonderful, the location is far from ideal. What are the plans for increased need for safety for the students during the day while a major retail store is open for business? Not to mention the proposal for more retailers to be built or added to the same area during that construction process. The thumbnail picture that was posted after the last board meeting, as well as the diagram today in the presentation, showed that beautiful adjacent to a new school, the beautiful new playground adjacent to the new school building, which is an amazing thing for our students that would attend that school. What it doesn't show is that that playground is in a very active parking lot. Not to mention the entire campus would be between two major roadways, surrounded by a Walmart, a bank, a Panda Express, and a Sonic fast food location. While I know a lot of time and effort was spent on this proposal, this choice of location feels careless and reckless and will put the safety of the students in jeopardy going to and from school and during their school day. I urge the members of the board not to pursue this specific location for a new school. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Natasha Lewis.
Hi, President Chupai, Dr. Thompson, and all school board members. My name is Natasha, and I'm alumni of both District 15 and 211. I'm here to also discuss the proposal for the Park Place School. A lot of the comments I were going to make were just previously made, so I'm going to save you the trouble of hearing that again. But some of the things that I'd like to highlight include, with the location, the two highways. That's also a concern for me, especially when dealing with small children with a K-6 school. Another issue that I have is the crime that's in the area. I do live in that area, and I am pretty familiar with that Walmart and the locations around it. I know that 2 years ago there was crime. A crime happened where someone was unfortunately shot right outside of that Walmart, and that concerns me when knowing what still goes on even now, putting small children near that area. Although it may be fenced off and there's going to be safety concerns, of course, and I understand that, but there are still going to be people walking around there all of the time, and how do we know, how are our children going to be safe? If someone's walking around in a Walmart parking lot, we may not see them as suspicious, but we need to think about the proximity of that to the students. And lastly, the last issue that I wanted to bring up that I had was where it's being placed is a lower income area, and it concerns me that some of the kids as well as the school might not have the necessary resources for a quality education because of that location. The school will likely be disproportionately minority students, specifically African American and Latino American, and it appears that there may be some schools that have and some schools that have not, and I'm afraid that the school and the students will be labeled with a stigma that I don't think we should be putting on children. I do believe that we should add another K-6 school to the district, but I strongly suggest that we choose a different location for that. Thank you.
Just to have such an articulate alumni.
Yeah. Makes you proud. Thank you everybody for sharing your comments with us this evening. We appreciate it. The next order of business is action items. We'll start with item 19-520, the personnel report. May I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve the May 8, 2019 personnel report as presented, including the following recommendations. Recommendation for disciplinary action, Jessica Blitzstein, 1-day unpaid suspension. Recommendation for disciplinary action, William Zimmerman, 12-day unpaid suspension and last chance agreement. Recommendation for termination, Faith Kolish, probationary release. Recommendation for termination, Edwin Song, as presented.
Second.
Second.
Discussion?
Dr. Hines has a few of these people that you're being asked to approve tonight that she'd like to talk a little about. So Dr. Hines, please come up.
Good evening. As Scott said, I have 3 new administrators that are on the docket tonight to be approved by the Board of Education. I'd like to tell you a little bit about our latest hires. Mrs. Rocio Fisher comes to District 15 from West Chicago, District 33, where she is presently a Director of Second Language Learners. She has a very robust background in education, having previously served as a principal of a foreign language school in China and a middle school assistant principal. She holds an undergraduate degree in urban education and a master's degree in educational leadership, and we hope to have her as our Assistant Director of Second Languages with your approval. We have 2 assistant principals that are on the docket for this evening. One that probably will sound familiar to you. Amber Danielchek is the new assistant principal for Jane Addams Elementary School. She will take over on July 1st for Risa Cohen, who will return to the Department of Instruction as a curriculum coordinator under Dr. Schnorr. Mrs. Danielchek has a very long history in District 15. She has served as an elementary school teacher in the district since 1999, currently working at Frank C. Whiteley Elementary. Amber is viewed as a mentor and an instructional leader among teachers in her building. She is also a member of Crisis, School Improvement, and Positive Behavior System teams at Whiteley. Mrs. Danielchek holds a bachelor's degree in elementary education, a master's degree in teaching and learning, and a second master's degree in educational leadership. Our second assistant principal, Angela Galgos, will be joining Frank C. Whiteley when Dustin Berman takes on a District 15 student service role. Angela comes to us from nearby Schaumburg District 54, where she is currently a bilingual speech-language pathologist. Prior to working in District 54, she served in the same capacity in Wheeling District 21. She is certified in several areas, including English language for special education. She's earned a bachelor's degree in psychology and Spanish, a master's degree in speech and language pathology, and a second master's degree in instructional leadership. Please help me welcome the newest members of our leadership team to District 15 with your approval this evening. And a few of them are here tonight. You can stand up. Amber and Angela and Rocio. Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hines. Any discussion? May I have a roll call, please?
Iannarino?
Aye.
Hunt?
Aye.
Khan?
Aye.
Smolka?
Aye.
Shupai?
Abstain.
Wong?
Aye.
Ader? Aye.
You know,
Motion carries.
probably during the comment section, it would be good for you to explain why you abstained. We don't want these
It's
new
nothing
people to be taking it personal.
My son is on the list for a temporary summer position before he leaves for college, so it would not be right for me to put.
Thank you.
But welcome to the rest of your life. I wish I could vote yes. All right, motion carries. Item 19-521.
Make a motion to approve the resolution to authorize the notice of publication, a public hearing, and the adoption of the fiscal year 2020 tentative budget, and to establish a hearing date as presented.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Hunt.
Aye.
Khan.
Aye.
Smoka.
Aye.
Shupai.
Aye.
Wong.
Aye.
Vader.
Aye.
Anarino.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 19-522, motion please.
I make a motion to ratify membership into Sourcewell Purchasing Cooperative and authorize the chief school business official to execute master intergovernmental cooperative purchasing agreement from Sourcewell.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Khan.
Aye.
Smoka.
Aye.
Shupai.
Aye.
Wong.
Aye.
Vader.
Aye.
Anarino.
Aye.
Hunt.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 19-523, motion please.
I'll make a motion to award the contract for the purchase of the Marion Jordan Elementary School playground in the amount of $233,506, and to further approve the purchase of Jane Addams Elementary School playground in the amount of $122,456 to Team REIL Inc. from Union, Illinois, through the Sourcewell Purchasing Cooperative as recommended.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? You guys are Discussion?
It's nice to see that there was such a large private donation.
Yes. That was-
That's amazing.
Yeah. We need to figure out how to get those for everywhere, huh? We're gonna leave that up to Mike.
Yeah.
You know, we should say the largest donation was from a family who lost a child in an airplane crash and dedicated the playground many years ago in her honor, and they wanted to still continue to be associated with it. So.
That's great, very nice. Yeah, it's good to have the backstory. So that doesn't make it. It was a lot of money without a reason. Yeah. Further discussion? Roll call?
Smoka.
Aye.
Shupai.
Aye.
Wong.
Aye.
Vader.
Aye.
Anarino.
Aye.
Hunt.
Aye.
Khan.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 19-524, motion please.
I make a motion to approve the purchase of the district's annual subscription to the Northwest Evaluation Association for the Measures of Academic Progress Achievement Test from NWEA, Portland, Oregon, in the amount of $135,500 as presented.
Second.
Second.
Discussion.
I think I'm going to tell my kids today that we just approved more.
That probably needs week two. Although he's right at the end, I think he took his last minute tests already. Further discussion? Roll call?
Shupai.
Aye.
Wong.
Aye.
Vader.
Aye.
Anarino.
Aye.
Hunt.
Aye.
Khan.
Aye.
Smoka.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 19-525. Motion please.
I make a motion to award the contract for the analog to digital radio refresh bid 19-021. Inclusion of 503 Motorola XPR 3300E radios, 100 chargers and wall mounts, and requested options to United Radio Communications, Bridgeview, Illinois, in the amount of $213,210.54. Additionally, the district's CARE program will be purchasing 60 extra radios in the amount of $29,188.74 for a total bid of $242,399.28 as recommended. The award is based on the lowest vendor meeting all bid specifications.
Second.
Second.
Discussion.
I will say that after last meeting, we did investigate, and the thing that really pushed this decision quickly to a final decision was our first responders, and they have familiarity with Motorola radios, and in a matter of a crisis, they didn't want to have to be working with and operating with a walkie-talkie that they weren't familiar with. They wanted to be able to not have to learn how to use it while they were trying to respond to a crisis, and they just recommended that we go with this model because it would be better for them and probably be in the best interest of the safety of the district if there was a crisis. And so that really pushed things over. There were other things that we looked into. I know that the representative from Boyson said that he offered to let us use them and things, and that really wasn't going to be a consideration after the first responder said, we really highly recommend that you go with the radio for these safety reasons, so that's why we did.
Discussion? Further? All right, roll call.
Wong.
Aye.
Ader. Aye. Iannarino.
Aye.
Hunt.
Aye.
Khan.
Aye.
Smolka.
Aye.
Shupai.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 19.526, motion please.
I make a motion to award the contract for the interior bus cleaning services bid 19-026 to Fleet Wash, Inc., North Aurora, Illinois, for a total amount of $23,450.28 as recommended.
Second.
Second.
Discussion? I thought it was interesting how different,
Yeah, much lower.
yeah.
Much lower.
It was, and Tom and I personally called all of them, and we said, is that the correct number? And they said, yes. I said, all right. It's a 3-year number for 23,000, correct? And they said, yes. So, yes, we thought it was too. Very, very surprising.
Yeah, do they come here to do the cleaning, or do they take the buses?
No, they come here.
All right, we're waiting to see who shows up the first time.
If you go back a few years to the company we just had, they started at that level before they went high.
Gotcha. All right, that makes sense. So it could be 3 good years and then we'll see, huh? All right, any other discussion? Roll call?
Ader. Aye. Iannarino.
Aye.
Hunt.
Aye.
Khan.
Aye.
Smolka.
Aye.
Shupai.
Aye.
Wong.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 19.527, motion please.
Make a motion to reject the bid for the taxi services for student transportation, 19-027, due to the disparity of pricing submitted. The request for proposal will be rebid for an award at the June 12, 2019 Board of Education meeting as recommended.
Second.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Iannarino.
Aye.
Hunt.
Aye.
Khan.
Aye.
Smolka.
Aye.
Shupai.
Aye.
Wong.
Aye.
Ader. Aye.
Motion carries. Item 19.528, motion please.
I make a motion to award the contract for the school office desktop and options bid 19-028, inclusive of 88 HP ProDesk 600 G4 SFF PCs and related connectors to Sentinel Technologies, Inc., Downers Grove, Illinois, in the amount of $60,720 as recommended. This award is based on the lowest responsible bidder meeting bid specifications.
Second.
Second.
Discussion?
This is just a regularly scheduled refresh, just so it's out there.
Mhm.
Further? Roll call.
Hunt.
Aye.
Khan.
Aye.
Smolka.
Aye.
Shupai.
Aye.
Wong.
Aye.
Ader. Aye. Iannarino.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 19.529, motion please.
I make a motion to award the contract for the sanitation restoration bid 19-029 to DeMio Brothers, Inc., Elk Grove, Illinois, in the amount of $54,955 as recommended.
Second.
Second.
Discussion? Roll.
Sanitary restoration, really a sewer fix, so just plain layman's terms. So.
Roots in the
Roots in
sewer,
the-
Yeah,
right,
right.
what I read there.
Yeah. Never pretty. Roll call.
Khan.
Aye.
Smolka.
Aye.
Shupai.
Aye.
Wong.
Aye.
Ader. Aye. Iannarino.
Aye.
Hunt.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 19.530, motion please.
Make a motion to award the contract for the asbestos abatement bid 19-030 to ARC Environmental, Inc., Chicago, Illinois, in the amount of $157,200 as recommended. The award is based on lowest vendor meeting bid specifications.
Second.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Smolka.
Aye.
Shupai.
Aye.
Wong.
Aye.
Ader. Aye. Iannarino.
Aye.
Hunt.
Aye.
Khan.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 19.531.
I make a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Would anybody like to remove anything from it first?
No, sir.
No, that's right. Second to the motion?
Second.
Roll call.
Shupai?
Aye.
Vaughn?
Aye.
Ader?
Aye.
Iannarino?
Aye.
Hunt?
Aye.
Khan?
Aye.
Smoka?
Aye.
Motion carries. Correspondence?
There were 4 requests and 2 responses for information under the Freedom of Information Act during the period of April 4th through May 2nd, 2019. On April 23rd, a request was received from Kaza Ran, Local Labs, the publisher of Prairie State Wire. The response to this request was sent on April 30th. On April 25th, the request was received from Amy Sondiger. The response to this request was sent on May 2nd. On April 29th, the request was received from Suluma Griffin, Sheet Metal Works. The response to this request was sent on May 6th. On April 30th, the request was received from Joe Polito, Illinois Communication Sales. The response to this request will be sent on May 7th.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.